Okay, so we are welcoming Chad Stoner to the show tonight from live here in Omaha right before a gig. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes, we're very excited.
To have one of our own hometown people is very
Right.
exciting for us.
That's right.
Right. Oh, we're here in the
So tell us, how did you get started in a career as a musician?
it was I suppose this is maybe almost a cliche story, but I played from sixth grade through high school and then did nothing with it. Saxophone after that for about 4 or 5 years. Just had imploded after 4 or 5 years after high school, not playing. And sort of in crawling out of that hole, I borrowed back the saxophone I had sold to my friend and began to just noodle around. And then I was kind of coming out of the hole. I was singing in a garage band, and they wanted to do Huey Lewis working for a living. And so I whipped together, tried to figure out this tune, and that's the kind of beginning of it. And after that, I was like, this makes me feel peaceful and happy. Apparently, on the other end of this, there are people that are enjoying it. Plus, I can make a little tiny, tiny bit of money. And I'm like, at that point in life, there was only up. So I was like, this is the perfect formula. So that's how it began. And then it just continued. I just played and played. And um, yeah, eventually auditioned and went to the Berklee College of Music, really to just try to find out was reality, what was the reality check as far as what needed to happen to be in music. Yeah, and from then on, it's just been consistently playing.
That
Love
kind of
it.
leads me to the next question of what do you think the hardest part of being a musician is?
Ooh, I'm trying to boil it down to one. I think, I think to persevere is one thing. There are just so many times that um, you're before you're established, you're trying to find gigs, keep gigs, improve as a player. You compare yourself to other people and say, why would I bother continuing in this? You start to be able to play, and early on, some of those gigs are real dogs for no money. And I mean, it sounds so cliche again, but I think perseverance and to continue to improve, I think, is one of the hardest things because once you start to play and get some gigs, it's easy to just kind of settle in. But it's kind of finding the motivation to continue to improve and evolve and for lack of a better term, stay relevant. You can be doing things for a while and then that passes. But if you persevere and work at it, and those for me don't even come naturally. Like at some point, it was just I kept going because I had too much time invested in it to stop. So whatever it takes, whatever it takes.
Love it. So, thinking about writing, how do you see a song from start to finish?
Um, well, it varies. I think a lot of the time, it depends. Sometimes you work top down, where there's a melody that just is going through your mind, and you stick with it and expand on it, and then try to find everything that fits around it. Sometimes I'm an instrumentalist, so I'm kind of think in terms of melody without words, but I'm a word person and I love singers even more than saxophone players. So then if it seems like it, then lyrics will be added to that. Um, and I'm groove oriented. I play R&B, and so generally I'm kind of thinking of that initially, something underneath the melody. Um, but seeing it start to finish sometimes just takes going back to a nugget that's been laying around that sticks in your mind. Like, that was only 5 notes, but for some reason, I can't get it out of my head. Um, and so those are worth going back to. There's another one that's just perseverance. You know,
Yeah.
um, if you don't, and I think there are people who are writers that's what they do constantly. They're writing, writing, writing. For me, writing is kind of an extension of playing. So I'm not constantly thinking about writing a new song. What's next? let's do a new thing. It more goes in bursts. Write some music, play it, record some of it, and then maybe just chill for for a while that percolates until the next season of playing. Did that answer your question? It's kind of a combination
Yes.
of
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure. For sure. We've talked about with other people too about like the seasons of writing that you're like, oh, sometimes it's really right there and other times not. So it sounds like you are also, we are not, but it sounds like you also are not a person that's like, I will write every day. I will make something new every day.
No,
So
no, that's not
I
my thing.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's hard to sit down and you can't force it.
Yeah.
And so I think that
Right.
having those kind of seasons of, okay, I got this melody, I'm gonna make it into something. And then other times when it's like, well, maybe I'll just practice what I already know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I enjoy writing, like journaling, nonfiction, commentary, satire. That is something that I know kind of has to happen consistently for it to happen, whether you feel it or not.
Yep.
Sit down and do it. Music is not like that for me. If I don't feel some sparkle, then it's just not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
It's like
Just a little bit about the Omaha scene for musicians. What's it like here? I mean, we get a lot of people from Nashville and kind of all over, but we don't talk a lot about what goes on here in Omaha. So we would love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, I think there are so many different scenes and genres within the whole picture that there are some that are just outside of my loop. It's a small community really within, so you always know somebody who knows somebody.
Mhm.
And but there are just alternative scenes in hip hop. There's still punk and metal. There's country. There's singer songwriter. There's instrumental stuff. Just on and on. And I think within each one of those ecosystems, uh, there is plenty of work. You can find things to do. I think Omaha has done a good job within the music community of creating their own opportunities. So anymore, there aren't a lot of venues at all that can
Yeah.
support music. So really throughout the whole scene, people are creating events. There's some beautiful venues around that people can use, from the Benson Theater to any kind of creative space. So there's always something that you can be doing. And when I say like the sub, it's not silos. It's not like everyone's kind of separate, but there are unique scenes within that. And
Mhm.
so I think there's plenty of opportunity, but that's mainly because musicians have taken it upon themselves to really create more opportunities. And I've seen a lot where people are now showcasing and trying to bring new people along and get them exposure.
That's very
Cool.
cool.
Yeah.
The good thing is we have popped up some newer venues in the last couple of years. The only bad thing
Right,
about them is it's they don't showcase local people like
Yeah.
they bring people in. So
right,
it'd be
right.
really cool if somebody could get well, they kind of do it the waiting room.
Yeah. Or the
But
reverb.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the
Right.
reverb,
Yeah,
they kind of showcase local bands, but it'd be nice if we had like a specific place that local people could just go and that open mic night or
Yeah.
that's their
right.
place.
Yeah.
Well, the space I'm in now is called NOMA, which is North Omaha Music and Arts. It's right on the corner of 24th and Lake, and they're
Yeah.
really set out. Dana Murray is the executive director, so he's a jazz drummer who's played with greats, like he's global, and now he's settled into this. So here they have nights where they bring in, they have just a high level house jazz band, but then they have people of all ages come in. So they're trying to bring people up, mentor them in jazz, give them opportunities to play with other musicians and get exposure that way, and hopefully inspire and train them to begin to make their own way. So this is one that really its mission is that, but
Love it.
also there are gigs where I'm local, but they bring national artists. So I think this is a unique spot too that does some really cool stuff in that way.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
that is really cool.
I've actually been to that place for a conference and it's a
Uh-huh.
Cool.
building.
Cool.
Yeah, and they just did a complete uh, refurbishing renovation. So it's just beautiful inside, and the sound and the stage and lighting and video is all. Um, so they're really investing in really legacy. They're doing
Love
things
it.
now that they'll find out 20 years from now.
Yeah,
That's very
yes, which
cool.
is I mean, like you said, really needed. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you about, I know you have two bands and you play on your own. Tell us kind of about both of the bands and kind of your solo experience.
Got it. Well, tonight's a solo thing. And so it's not something, it's the thing I do the most, but mostly privately. So I have like a beautiful like Bose system, and I have my horn, and I have digital accompaniment. And so I do all R&B. That honestly is financially like the thing I do the most. But then the bands are the things that I adore. And so the Chad Stoner band, which is kind of the main band, we're an R&B band. So we're not smooth jazz. We do R&B, R&B. So and that band is honestly, I'm biased, but it's just like the best group of four musicians I could possibly play with. And so we've done Jazz on the Green the past 2 years. We do festival stuff. We'll be here at Noma at the end of May. So we play, and I'm recording now, so we'll be playing that stuff soon.
Hey.
So that band does fewer gigs just because there's not really the opportunity or venue for those as much. Now the other group is called Juke Butter, like juke joint
Yep.
and butter, because our little tag is because butter makes it better, which does. Butter makes everything better.
That's
Fair
right.
I
enough.
mean,
Absolutely.
as a side thought, it is the
But it's true. It's true.
objectively. Yeah. And so that is you would call it like a soul jazz trio, but so the saxophone, organ, and an organ guy kicks bass, so he's two people and saxophone. So that's just a funky, jazzy, groovy group. So we do older tunes and give them a fresh spin. We do newer tunes, give them kind of a vintage spin. Also, that's a party. And so we play for the past, I don't know, it might be almost 6 months now at the Red Lion Lounge down in the Blackstone District.
Oh,
Nice.
fun.
We play every other Sunday down there. So we have a standing gig, and which is nice because then you get people who know you're there, and you kind of
Yeah.
establish
Yeah.
something. And so that band is so fun, and we just had our eighth anniversary as a band.
Yay.
So yeah, so those are the two bands, and then tonight I'll be doing the solo thing, and Noma closes off one part of it, and it just started. Tonight's the first night, so they call it the Noma Cafe. So that it's set up, tables, and more intimate, but it'll still be a party. It'll be fun.
I love all of this. It's so
Yeah.
exciting.
It's so cool to
It
know
is.
that that stuff's happening here in our hometown. I
Yep.
love it. Should we do the
Well,
big four?
I'm geeked to talk about it.
Yay. Yes. So these, yeah, it's you. But
Okay.
this is our big four questions that we ask everyone who comes on the show.
Okay,
I'm letting
okay.
you start.
I'm so
Okay, first,
stressed out right now. I'm so stressed out.
Message.
first gig and favorite gig so far.
Repeat that one time.
First gig that you did and your
Yeah.
favorite gig so far or favorite venue
Uh,
could be too.
First paying gig.
Yes.
Yes. Well, however
That
you
might
want to
be,
see that, but yes.
well, my first pro gig, I guess, I was 22, 1, 2. There's a band called the Confidentials. I was taking lessons. I had just kind of come back into playing a couple of years before that. And my teacher said, "Hey, this guy could handle subbing for your saxophone player who's going to be gone." So they were like a cover band, reggae, ska thing. And so I did that gig for 3 weekends and got what I thought was paid really well. And so that made me go, "Hey, I think this could happen." So there's my first one.
Love it.
Yes,
And
they're fantastic.
favorite?
I've seen them play.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they're still
Yeah.
around. They're 30 some years. And then favorite gig?
Yes.
So far.
Um, I would say, well, there's a couple things. One is my saxophone hero is Kirk Whalum, one of them. And I've known him. He became a mentor over the years, but he's played with Whitney Houston and Luther Vandross, and he came to town and there was a Riverfront Jazz Fest, and we were talking ahead of time, and I got to go play with him on his set, and for two songs. Ah, man, that was special in terms of like just a performance because we were just yeah that my playing with Kirk Whalum. Um, Favorite gig. Oh my goodness. I think it would be hard to say, but I think this last summer when we did Jazz in the Green, you never get to do 2 years in a row when you're a local band, but we did 2 years ago. And this year, the headliner couldn't make it. Their transportation, they couldn't get it and they were out of the country. So they called us 24 hours in advance.
Wow.
And with a working band, you can do that. You can go, hey, we can do it. And so we went, and it was a blast. It was the same many thousands of people, but we were just relaxed and had fun. And it was kind of what it's supposed to be. And people danced. And so I'm going to go with that just because it'll take me too long to dig through my archives to pick a better one.
Well, it sounds like a really good gig.
I love it. It does. And
Yeah.
playing with your heroes. I mean, that's pretty
Oh,
darn
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
So,
That's huge. Oh, I have
yes.
one more.
Yes.
I worked at Cheers in Boston, which is the Bull and Finch pub.
Yeah.
I'd also met Branford Marsalis. They came to do the last episode of Cheers, and they brought the Tonight Show to the actual place along with the Cheers cast. And while we were there, I was Branford's assistant, and he said, if you bring your horn, you could play. Well, they were smashed into the little Bull and Finch pub. My wife went across town, got my horn to me just in time for us coming back from the last commercial. We got to play like 15 seconds of a tune together. So that's my favorite. That's
Oh,
my.
I love it.
It's actually on the Tonight Show, and I got paid for it, so that was cool.
That's awesome. That is. Yeah. I can see why that's favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, who would you say are your influences?
Saxophone wise, it would be Kirk Whalum, Branford Marsalis, and a lot of the old style, really heavy stick. They call them Texas tenors or like just lush, big sounding tenors from the past. So Houston Person, Gene Ammons, even Arnett Cobb, Stan Getz. So like those really lush sounding tenors. But singers are my thing. I love it. And so Luther Vandross, number one all time, no challenge there. And actually, Donny Hathaway's daughter, Layla Hathaway, who comes through Omaha a lot.
Yeah.
She would be my second one. She actually is in a relationship with someone who lives here, so it's not uncommon for her to be through. But those two, and I could go on and on, but those are the two that really.
It's hard to narrow down.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man,
what would you say you're currently listening to on repeat?
On repeat, well, anything new R&B from females. So like Money Long, Summer Walker, Thames, Kiana Lede, that batch of singers just on playlists all the time, and just R&B playlists. That's what I listen to all the time.
I love it. This is exciting for me because I need to branch out my R&B experience because I'm like 80s R&B. That's like what I know as R&B. So this is exciting.
Hey, that's what I play too. This whole night will be 80s and 90s R&B.
I love it.
You're going to have to come on a Wednesday when
yes,
we'll
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
We'll come check it out.
Yes. Sure. Okay. What advice would you give to new musicians?
What advice would I give to new musicians? I would say, and this seems like a generic answer, but listen to a lot of music and experiment to find your voice. You kind of come up and you know a certain kind of music and you feel like, hey, and I'm playing that and I do well at it, but you're still, as a career musician, really, it's all about finding your voice, not just your sound, but finding the stuff that influences you, finding things that influence you that'll fold into what you do. So honestly, you would hear that from a lot of different musicians, but listen a lot. And when something sparks you, follow that for a while. Figure out what it is about that that makes you inspired or motivated. There's a lot of people that say, I think there's something that says, um, there's a little phrase that says, impersonation, assimilation, and innovation is the process of like becoming like a jazz musician. All of it starts with copying other people, not just in jazz. So I would say that listen a lot, and when something sparks you, try to figure out why, because that's something about your voice that's drawing you along.
Yeah,
That's fabulous advice. Yeah.
It is. It really, that resonates with me. I like
Mhm.
that. Very
Love
nice.
it.
Thank you for sharing
Yes.
that.
Okay, now it is time for your shameless plug. Where can we
Yep.
find you? Social media, websites, Bandcamp, any of that stuff?
Yeah. So chadstoner.com is a place you can go and find out. And that's essentially, you can contact me and there's live dates. I'm going to be here every Wednesday for 2 months at Noma, starting tonight. Every other Sunday, although some of them are tweaked in the spring here, my group Juke Butter is at the Red Lion Lounge from 7 to 10 on Sunday nights in Blackstone. With my full band, we'll be here at Noma on May 31st. Um, and that I'm looking forward to. And then I'm collaborating with two singers, Anjali and Just B. And we're doing the second of the series we call the Love Lounge. And it's just a big collaborative concert. We do all R&B hits. This is our Mother's Day edition. And it'll be on Saturday, May 10th. And that'll be on my website. But there'll be two singers, me, full band. And last time we sold it out, it was 300 people. And that will be a special one too.
That's very
So
cool.
there's a
Hashtag Dad.
blast of opportunities.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of places to see you all around town. I love it. Well, thank you so much, sir,
Yes.
for taking this time out, especially on a night when you have a gig.
Yes.
Well, I can't thank you enough. I love what you're doing, and I looked into it, and it's just fabulous, and it's fun and creative and like really useful. So thanks for what you do. Appreciate being on.
Thank you.
We have a blast.
Absolutely.
So,
we do.
but we couldn't do it without folks like you. So
Yes,
thank
absolutely.
you.
All right.